Hello, I'm David Dubato, and this is the No Delusion Zone live on April 26, 2026, Sunday, April 26, 2026. Yesterday on the live stream I did yesterday, I mentioned that I was going to probably do the episode today on Ukraine and the incredible work they've done with drones in drone warfare in general. And I'm going to do that tomorrow. Why? Because there's a topic that I've wanted to get to for a while that some recent events have made me decide that I want to actually do it today. And so, again, I'm going to postpone the Ukrainian drone topic or episode till tomorrow. So please, tomorrow at about 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. UK time, please tune in here. And I'm going to plan on talking about Ukraine. And like I said, the incredible work they've done transforming the modern battlefield, modern warfare with their technology, specifically on drones and unmanned weapons platforms. But today, I'm going to talk about a topic that is dear to my heart and is a tragedy, a real tragedy in terms of the United States of America. And what I'm talking about here is literacy or illiteracy, what I call the plague of stupidity that is rampant in my country, America, the United States of America. We have a plague of illiteracy, people who are barely literate, functionally illiterate, or just flat out can't read or write. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. It's going to be the sole focus of this live stream. So, and what triggered this today? Well, there was a speech that one of my favorite people, Pete Hegseth, said at the Pentagon a couple of days ago, and he was talking again about how lethal we're going to be, no quarter given, and how many Iranians we're going to kill, how we're going to decimate and destroy that country, the same blather on and on and on. And what really got me going was, and this was, of course, broadcast on Fox News, the main platform, the propaganda arm of the White House and MAGA. What really got me going were the replies, the response, the comments that were made in regard to his ridiculous warmongering. And so I decided, today I'm not going to talk about anything but the illiteracy, the lack of critical thinking ability in America. And why did that make me think of illiteracy in America, the lack of critical thinking skills? Well, I think I'm going to show you in some of the comments. Folks, when a person, I don't care who they are or what country they're in, cannot read beyond a very basic elementary school level, if they cannot comprehend the written word past reading the back of a soup can or maybe a loaf of bread or a cartoon, they are incapable of deciphering, of thinking critically about pretty much anything, but certainly not able to think critically about political statements, about what their elected leaders are saying, what they plan on doing for the country, about the plans, if there are any, for wars such as what America is waging now in Iran. They cannot possibly comprehend statements that come out of government agencies, because statements that come out of government agencies, at least in the United States, are pretty much written for people that can read and write at least the 6th grade level. That's about an 11-year-old. So statements that come out of the government in the United States are written for people who can read at or above the 6th grade level. If you can't, then you're not going to be able to understand the statements, the platform, the plans, the rules, the laws of your government. You're just not going to get it. So what are you going to do? You're going to be forced to listen and believe what you hear your leaders saying, because what they write and put out in their official statements just too complicated for you. You could never understand what they're saying. So you have to trust the lies and BS that come out of their mouths. Let me show you some of this because it really, really pisses me off. I'm not going to show you the Hegseth speech because he droned on for over 30 minutes. But what I'm going to show you is some examples of the literacy rates here in the United States. And I'm going to read it along with you. In 2025, 40% of American adults did not open a book. This is not because books are out of fashion, but rather because Americans are struggling to read. According to the National Literacy Institute, 130 million Americans are unable to read a story to their children. That represents roughly a third of the population that also struggles with reading and comprehension skills. In 2024, 21% of US adults were found to be functionally illiterate, a condition in which individuals possess basic reading and writing skills, but struggle to apply them effectively in everyday situations. According to the National Literacy Institute, 54% of adults presented a literacy level below a sixth grade level. Let that sink in. I'm going to read it again. According to the National Literacy Institute, 54% of adults in the United States of America presented a literacy level below a sixth grade level. I'm going to let that sink in again for just a couple of minutes. Folks, if a sizable majority, a majority, 54% of adults can't read at the level of an 11-year-old, a sixth grade level, how do you expect them to understand anything that the government says in official statements, in the rules and the laws that come out of their government? How do you expect them to understand anything other than reading cartoons and the memes and the bullshit that comes out on Instagram and all the other social media out there, which is why social media is so famous or so popular in America, at least, because it doesn't require any critical thinking. You have a lot of AI slop, of course, but even if they're real individuals saying BS to them for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, maybe, or a little bit longer with nonsense, things they don't have to think about. Further along here with the illiteracy nonsense in America, talking about political participation or the lack thereof, the most profound consequences of low literacy can be seen in politics. Political texts frequently use technical language, borrowed words, and complex sentence structures that require active reading and advanced comprehension. Individuals with limited reading skills often struggle to access and understand political information. As a result, people with low literacy increasingly rely on audio or visual forms of information. Just what I was talking about. Instagram or memes with people spewing out nonsense verbally so people can take in their crap and they don't have to think about anything, and they certainly don't have to read. In the digital age, podcasts, videos, and social media are becoming more accessible sources of political content. However, these formats also have limitations. According to Reuters Institute digital news format, people worldwide are turning away from the news, citing distrust and disengagement. That's not good. Why do you think they are so easy to convince with lies, with propaganda, with out and out nonsense? Because they have nothing to compare it to. They don't read. They have no way of fact checking anything. And many of the people around them don't read and are also functionally illiterate. So they believe what people online are telling them. People on social media are telling them on blogs and vlogs and podcasts and any number of other digital media. They just believe them because they're saying it and they're saying words they want to hear. They believe it. And again, they have no ability to fact check it, to think critically about it. And as far as the war in Iran, to everyone asking why Iran is making Lego videos, do you know the literacy rate in the United States? Well, you kind of do now. 54% of all adults in America read at or below the level of a sixth grader, an 11-year-old. So why would Iran or anyone else put out statements or memes or anything else at an advanced level, even a high school level? They don't. They put out memes and social media content directed at the average reading ability of an American, sixth grade, an 11-year-old, so they can get it. And they do. Let me just put up briefly some of the replies to Pete Hegseth's nonsense, BS, his just disgusting comments the other day about the war in Iran, the out and out lies that he put out. These are just some of the comments to his 31-minute speech that he gave in reference to the war in Iran. Light them up, left, right, up, down, inside out. And then it just goes on and on. Just prayers for the warriors to stop these ships. You guys are doing an amazing job. Congratulations. Every day you bring peace and security to the whole world. Kudos to American Armed Forces. God bless. Yeah, peace and security to the whole world. Yeah. The world is in more danger of an atomic war and an economic catastrophe than we ever have. But God bless you, Pete and Donald. Moving along to some others here. Again, these are comments to Pete Hegseth. Thank you, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. We love you, USA military. Surround Pete Hegseth and your care, Lord. Bless him in this hellish war. I don't know if you noticed what I noticed in almost all of those comments so far. The Lord thy God. God bless him. Christian nationalism. Wrapping a war. Wrapping what I and millions of other consider an unjust and an illegal war. That's not to think what I believe about the Iranian government, which I hate and are murderous terrorists. That is not the point. How this war is being conducted, why it's even being conducted is the point. And to bless this, to have all these blasphemous sons of bitches bless this in the words of the Lord, the Prince of Peace, really, and to make this into a religious war. That's what they are doing. Christian nationalism, very, very, very dangerous, folks. And it creeps into almost everything that MAGA says. I'm going to just put up here one more response to Pete Hegseth's press conference. Wrap this up fast so we can deal with the war at home. Really? I didn't realize there was a war at home. We need more than Neighborhood Watch dealing with our cartels and gangs. What cartels are there here? Yes, some American cities absolutely have some gangs, and they're dealt with by what is called law enforcement, the police, not DHS and those murderous thugs and the military that Pete Hegseth, DHS, and Trump have deployed to the streets. But apparently you and millions of MAGA like you think there's actually a war going on here and that our police can't handle it, that we have to deploy the military on the streets of America to kill Americans. May God bless America. Protects and victories to our troops. Amen. Thank goodness for all our American soldiers and families and brave men, blah, 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 blah. And don't get me wrong, folks. As a retired member of the United States Army, I support our military men and women 1,000%, 1,000%. I also don't want them injured or killed in a needless war, in a needless religious war that was started by Donald Trump. This is insane. I'm not going to go into my thoughts about the war itself. I've done that before. I'm going to do it again a lot. It was needless. I don't believe Iran should have a nuclear bomb, but if anything, this is going to force them to develop a nuclear weapon if they didn't want to before, because what have they got to lose? The only way they feel they can protect and defend themselves in the future is to have nuclear weapons. Whether or not they were going to negotiate that away before, that's gone. This war has forced them into deciding that they want one now. It's also going to continue to cause an economic catastrophe for the entire world, again, solely brought on by Donald Trump and his Christian nationalist, full of crap, dangerous MAGA supporters. 54%, it seems, or more, when you're talking about MAGA, who are functionally illiterate. And as Donald Trump says, he loves the uneducated. And you know why? Because he can lie to them and they'll believe every lying word. And that's it for today. I'm going to put this up, which I haven't done before, which I need for you, if you could, please, if you support this channel and all the ravings that I do, the voice of the opposition to the insanity, the lunacy that is MAGA, that is the former Republican Party, that is Donald Trump. If you support voices of the opposition, please come back here. Tell your friends and family to come to the No Delusion Zone on YouTube. Become a subscriber. And also go to my Substack, which is protectingtherepublic.com. Become a paid subscriber there as well. Need all the support that I can get. And as I said, like and subscribe here. Hit that subscribe button. Need all the support that I can get. That's all for today. Look, I am going to be back here tomorrow. I'm here pretty much every day now. Tomorrow at 12, I believe, 12 Eastern time, I'll be doing another live stream. This time, I believe, with my buddy and friend, Jonathan Fink. We're going to be doing another edition of The Dictators, which is our daily live stream. That's going to be a little later at about 12 Eastern time, about 5 p.m. in the UK, a little bit later on the continent in Europe. So I hope to see you all there as well. Until then, please, you all, stay safe, stay calm, and by all means, stay sane.